Minion Body Art Tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish. And I just want to say quick that you could use these steps to paint a minion on canvas or anything, so you can use these steps to paint it all. So with a thin brush and black body paint, I'm going to start by painting the minion's outlines. And so I'm going to start with the top of his head, and it's kind of like an upside down U shape. So then between like the tips of that U, we're going to be painting a line, and this is just in the middle, and then add long rectangles for the straps. So that we're going to be working, this is his overalls, or the start of his overalls. And now I'm going to be making him so that it looks like he's waving. So I'm going to be painting one arm going up, and then add a gloved hand on the end of that arm. And his hand only has 3 fingers, so make sure you only paint 3. So now I'm going to continue working on his overalls. So I'm going to finish like the chest flap. I guess that might be what you call it. And then I'm going to finish off the bottom of his body. And his whole body is kind of like a pill shape. So just continue like the oval shape of his head. And if you do have a mistake like that, looks a little wonky. So if you want to erase it, just dip a little bit of paper towel into some water and you can wipe it right off. Or you can use like a baby wiper, makeup remover too if you wanted. And then add the cuffs of his pants and his boots. And I'm aware that like his boots are black, so I could just fill those in now, but right now I really want to focus on the outline, so I'm going to fill that kind of thing in later. Alright, and so his other arm, I decided it'd be kind of cute if he had it on his hip, so paint the other one on his hip, and also a gloved hand. And so finish off like the side pockets of his overalls by just continuing those lines that you made. And then he's also got a pocket on his chest, so make that shape and then add a circle in it. Inside the circle, add a diamond shape, and then inside the diamond, add a little circle with a line coming out of it to finish off Gru's logo. And this part I am going to be filling in just because I have the small brush out and I won't necessarily use it again for black. Okay, so now I'm going to be working on his face, so paint a large circle in the center of his face if you want him to have 1 eye. If you want him to have 2 eyes, add 2 circles and just double the steps. And then add another circle that is parallel to the first one, and then give him eyelids, and then a line for his iris, and then his pupil. And I'm just going to give him a lopsided grin. So then add the sides of his goggles, or his goggle, I guess, and then add the strap. So now I'm going to be making my smaller adjustments with a cotton bud dipped in some water. This is just if you need to thin out a line or something minor. I would suggest doing it that way instead of getting out paper towel and all that. So now using yellow, I'm going to be filling in his arms and his head. So I'm going to start with his arms and just work my way up through the rest of everything that needs to be yellow. And I'm going to start with yellow first because for the most part this is the lightest shade that we're going to be using of any color, and it'll be less likely for something to blend and get messed up if you start with the lightest and work your way getting darker. And right now I just have a question for anyone who cares to answer. With a minion, because he's only got 1 eye, would that still be called goggles or would it just be a goggle? I don't know. I've been trying to figure it out, and I asked like all my family members and nobody can answer me. We've been trying to decide. So give me your opinion if that should be called goggles or goggle. What his eyewear is called. It's been bothering me. So if you could help me out. Another thing, as you're filling in with these various colors, you don't want to go over your outline, or you're going to want to try to not go over your outline because it's going to reactivate the black paint, and then it's going to turn your yellow into sort of like a muddy green. So then using light blue, I'm going to be filling in his overalls, but I'm not going to be filling in his pant legs. So just don't do that part right now, but fill in everything else. And I don't know if you can tell this, but on his one pant leg, the first one that I went near, I did go over the black line and it did sort of turn it muddy looking. This, you know, it happens. I'm not too worried about it. You can always fix your outlines later too if you need to. And also fill in the center of Gru's logo with the blue. And the straps of his overalls. So now with a darker shade of blue, I'm going to be adding a little bit of depth to his overalls. So I'm going to go through just the edge of his pockets and just make a little line. I'm not worried about blending it in right now. I'm going to do that after it dries. And then I'm also going to just go over the bottom of his overalls. So now that's pretty much dried, so clean out your brush and then dry it off. And then you can just sort of go over all of the darker areas that you went, and it's going to smooth out the transition between the light blue and the dark blue. So then fill in his pant legs with the dark blue. And this is a gray that I mixed. So then fill in his goggle with gray. And to mix that, I just took some scrapings off of white and some scrapings off of black and mixed them together with a little bit of water. And you can do that to mix any color you need. So fill in that first, like the round, the frame of his goggle, and then the little side, like attachment part. Okay, so I'm going to be filling in the white of his eye with white. And so just like how for the rest of his body we went from the lightest to the darkest color, I'm going to be doing the same thing. So I'm going to start with the white and then work my way out. So now I'm going to be filling in his eye color with brown. And lastly, I'm going to do his eyelids with yellow. So now I'm going to be filling in the strap of his goggle with black, and I know that I did make that center line in that already, and I'm covering it up now, but that is still going to help me know where it is later on, so you don't want to skip that step, but we are painting over it basically. And I'm also going to be filling in his glove, or well, both of his gloves actually. And then I'm going to now fill in his boots. So to highlight, I'm going to be just going over where I want to highlight on his goggle, on his gloves, and on his boots with the gray that I mixed. And sometimes I was out of frame, so I just cut that part out. I'm sorry that I missed part of his gloves and his boots. So then using that same clean, damp brush, just go over those lines just to blend them in with the black so there's not a harsh transition. So now I'm going to be adding the final little details. So I'm going to be touching up any outlines that may have gotten painted over or smudged at all when I was filling in the rest. I'm also adding buttons on the straps of his overalls, and my Gru logo got a little messed up, so I'm going to be fixing that as well. And also updating his pupil because that got a little painted over too. And then last you can add his hair, and Minions have a wide variety of hair. You could leave his head bald, but I'm just going to add like a little like hairs every which way kind of going all over his head. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked my Minion tutorial. Please share any recreations with me on Facebook and Twitter. I always love to see them. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!